Good morning. Today we have with us Mrs. Aradhana Rana. She is the founder principal of the Icon Public School in Ahmednagar. She has raised the school from its inception till the present status of a prestigious senior secondary school and continues to be a guiding force in shaping lives. She is an author of repute and has written many books on communication skills and spoken English. She has traveled a lot and hence has a global experience which drives her to create a school that will become an icon in the global map.
Her book, Correctly Speaking, has just been launched on Amazon after the book Rising to Challenges, which hit the stands in October 2020. Ma'am, I therefore request you to shed some light on the challenges that we faced in 2020 and how we rose to them.
Good morning, both of you, Gauri and Mohak. Feel very nice to be with young people like you. And like you said, you've given me such a glorious introduction. Thank you very much. And like you said, Rising to Challenges was a book I wrote for the challenges we faced in 2020 and how we rose to them. Now, 2020 was a year like no other, and when it started, none of us had any idea, what we were into. So there were huge, huge challenges. Our schools were not equipped to deal with total online teaching like this. The students, of course, were not equipped, but more than that, the teachers were not equipped. So overnight, the teachers, went into a learning mode. And I think that 1 month or day and night, the kind of work they put in, the kind of knowledge they acquired, that really helped us to rise above the challenges. It was like an emergency situation. And the day the lockdown was announced, I think from that moment onwards, we started off. So time was of great value at that time. And because we spent this 1 month training the teachers, we did wonderfully well. So it was basically a lot of hard work, a lot of dedication, and a lot of willingness to face the challenges that made us sail through.
Ma'am, how do you think your students have adapted to the change?
The students adapted beautifully because, when it started, it was like holiday time and, students thought it was some sort of game that was going on where they were allowed to use all the gadgets that the parents were not letting them use. So actually parents were giving them gadgets to use. So it was a very nice time at that time to see the children so excited. But gradually it dawned on them that this is not playtime, this is serious learning time. And they were not going to meet their friends, they were not coming to school. So from that point of view, it dawned so gradually that I think, the students adapted pretty well to it also. Then over a period of time, we realized that there came that boredom because all the fun and games was over and they had to do all the learning and they had to be responsible. So there was a lot of boredom in the students and the parents. Initially they probably thought it was going to be for a short while, and then they had these children, on their head the whole day. So parents started getting a little agitated. So these kind of things we had to deal with in between. And then what we did was we learned a lot of exciting apps to make learning more enjoyable. So that is the time I think the students started enjoying it more, and they started making presentations. We got them involved. So with this kind of thing, I think we sailed through pretty well, and we got over this period.
Ma'am, what was the hardest part about moving your classes online?
I would say hardest part because, in life, whatever you have to do, you have to do. There was no choice. So there was no hard and soft part of it. But the hardest part in that given environment was, I think, the teachers' training. Because the teachers were not used to being on camera, being into the students' houses. So they did face a lot of difficulty. Then, of course, getting gadgets for everybody. and the parents had to buy a gadget for every child. Some families had 2 or more children, so that was difficult. And the teachers had to get their own gadgets. So once they got that, it was fairly easy. Then online, nobody was very familiar with this kind of genre of teaching. So they had to shift the classroom teaching to online teaching, which means not having the live students and they're asking them questions, having to mute, unmute. So this kind of learning had to take place. But I think they coped pretty well.
Ma'am, most data indicates that a significant learning gap has emerged during the pandemic. So can you tell us how did you close the gap?
Whereas the gap is concerned, this data is a little misleading because the gap generally occurred in more rural areas and areas where, people did not have technology, access to technology. But as far as the urban areas was concerned, it wasn't that kind of a gap. But when you combine the two, the gap seems a lot because, the data is collected on both bases. But as far as the urban areas was concerned, a lot of schools did use technology even before this. So people were familiar, with technology, and education did not suffer that kind of a gap. The transition was more smooth. But yes, in the rural areas, the gap was a lot. The students just had to stop their education. No gadgets were available. Teachers were not responding to the training, and there was a sudden turmoil. So it is not, so much of a gap as we make it out to be. But yes, it did occur in a lot of areas.
Ma'am, do you feel that the current way in which we are educating our children fully prepares them to the needs of the 21st century?
Fully prepares, nothing really fully prepares anybody, because even what we were doing before did not fully prepare you for the needs of society. We were looking for a change, and the kind of change that has come about, a part of the change we were looking for is this, because we were thinking of changing our methods of teaching, such that the students become more responsible about their work. The students learn to be creative, to be innovative, to experiment, so which was not coming in the classroom teaching. But this time accelerated that process. So maybe this is not the only way to teach, but I think what comes out of it, from what we were doing and what we are doing, a blended method would be the ideal way to teach, and that is what which will prepare the students to further life.
Ma'am, are the changes in education going to be different in India to its counterparts in developing countries?
Yes, it will be different, because just like I said, the rural and urban areas, the challenges are different. Similarly, urban India is yet behind the developed countries. So the same gap exists. In developed countries, students were learning by this method even before the pandemic occurred. So students were very familiar, teachers were all familiar with these methods. So they had lesser challenges to face. Their challenges were more on the emotional level, social level. So that is why, it became difficult for them. Here in India, we did not face those kind of challenges because we have joint families. Our family structures are very, firmly bonded. But our challenges were in the education. So yes, the kind of challenges are different. But yes, there have been a lot of challenges in all countries.
Ma'am, can you tell about the challenges that we will face in the 2021st year, and about the shift that came in last year?
2021 will again be a year of experimentation, because I just hope we don't go back to 2019. We should learn what we have learned in 2020, amalgamate into what we did before, and come up with newer methods. So 2021 is going to be a year of a lot of experimentation, a lot of blended learning, a lot of creative thinking, a lot of flip learning, because these are terms and the kind of learning methods we've learned now. And it's not that what we've learned now is the best method, but if we amalgamate it with what we were doing earlier, I think we'll come up with very great solutions. So 2021, I won't say more challenges, but I think there's going to be a great evolvement of learning.
Ma'am, what are your thoughts on the new education policy?
The new education policy, I think, is the most wonderful thing that has happened to education. It should have come almost 20 years before it has come. And even now, if it wasn't for 2020, it would have taken probably 10 to 15 years to be implemented. So 2020 has accelerated that process. It's made us more ready to adapt to it. So from that point of view, it's going to be great. NEP is by itself as a policy is what education should be. So even though we've woken up a bit late, but we have woken up to the fact, the kind of things they've suggested for early childhood education. That was a requirement of the day. Many studies suggest that early childhood is the time when students learn the maximum. What they absorb during that time is precious. But what were we doing? We were, teaching them by the rote method. So I think NEP has got rid of that. Again, the kind of options we were giving our students, we were putting them into straitjackets, science, arts, commerce. So that has been removed. Now a student can explore his talents, go choose a path that he or she wishes to take, and then you will find a lot of innovators coming up, lot of job givers, lot of people who will make a lot of startups, who will experiment a lot. So that is going to be the result of the new learning methods. So NEP is a wonderful thing that has come up.
Ma'am, how do you visualize the Indian education system 10 years hence?
I am very, very positive about the education system 10 years hence. One, because we have adapted very well and we have shown, how resilient we can be. We didn't give up, we didn't break, we evolved. So from that point of view, we have emerged stronger. And with the new education policy, we will emerge even stronger. So 10 years hence, I see the whole education system going through a drastic change where students who come out of the system will be better equipped to face life, because there's a lot of stress on life skills. So I see a very bright future for India.
Thank you, Mrs. Rana, for your thoughts, insights, and critical evaluation of the situation that we'll soon find ourselves in. I'm sure that we'll rise to any challenges that we face. I hope all the students who are watching this feel motivated and empowered and say after me, yes, we can. Thank you.
Yes, we can. Thank you. Thank you very much.